Picture it, Los Angeles, 2024.
Welcome to Out on the Lanai, the only Golden Girls podcast you're ever going to need to listen to. I am HAlanScott / Sadie Pines.
And I'm Kerri Doherty, and we have something so fun for you all today. To close out Pride Month this week, we're breaking down the Golden Girls Gayest guest stars.
And we are not, now I know where your mind immediately goes. It goes to Coco, it goes to Jean, it goes, the Clayton, it goes to like the ones you're thinking. And we do have them, but we're going deep here. We're doing ones that like you didn't expect. And I have
There were even ones that I didn't expect that are on this list.
I can back them up. I will back up all of the surprise ones that we have in store
I'm looking
for
for receipts for some of these from you.
Oh, I got receipts. Trust me. I got receipts.
I love how many gay guest stars the Golden Girls had. I don't even think I realized how many they had until we put this little compilation together.
Yeah, I mean it was a surprising list, but it was a fun list too, and it does sort of warm my heart that they were included so much, like gay story, even if sometimes they were the butt of the joke. Like gay storylines were a part of, or gay characters in general were just a part of the story in a way. And that is just, or even just gay adjacent, you know what I mean? Like that is just fun. And for like a little gay kid watching at home, or a little queer kid, I should say, just watching at home, like it's coded in a way that makes you feel happy and accepted and excitable and fun. You know what I mean? Like it makes you feel included.
Yeah. And it's really, really, it's really nice how many they had. And I guess, I don't know, should we?
Which one of all of, well, I have a question for you.
Okay.
So let's say, so the four girls, right? Now, you've heard of the Kinsey scale.
Yes.
So it's the, rate, whatever. I don't know exactly what the scale is, but like, let's just say 10 is really gay and like 1 is like not gay at all. Let's just say that. Or queer. Like where do you think the girls fall on the Kinsey scale?
Ooh, this is a really good question.
Thank you.
I mean, because of the Jean episode, I think Rose is kind of low on the scale.
See, now it's interesting you say that, because I agree, but I also disagree.
Please present your case.
Yes, her reaction to Jean was accepting and loving and, very much how it should be.
She goes, I'm just not that way. Or she says like, and if I was that way, well, you know what I mean? Like it's very sweet. But
I have a feeling that Rose could accidentally sleep with a woman and not realize it, or not realize it until it's too late, and then she immediately is like, oh well, I do like this person and I'm here and I don't want to be rude. Which to me then means, yes, she's low on the Kinsey scale, but I'm gonna think she's like a 3, like a 2-3 range.
That's where I would put her. I'd put her like a 2-3.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now if we're talking Blanche, let's go to Blanche. Blanche is the most sexual, and you would think because of that she's more fluid and everything, but I think she's solidly at 1. I think
she's very socially conservative. We know this because of Clayton.
Yeah. So I think there's no chance in hell she would ever sleep with anyone other than men. Like I just don't see it.
I don't see it either, and it makes it even funnier knowing that when she finds out that Jean is thinks she's in love with Rose. She's like, well, what about me? Like Blanche, she doesn't actually want Jean to be in love with her. I think it would actually make her uncomfortable. But the idea that anyone, man or woman, would choose someone in the house over her is a running joke on the Golden Girls and is so fitting for Blanche.
Do you know what I think would throw Blanche for a loop if this show was set in 2024? And that is because now, thankfully, we have recognized that gender is a social construct and a spectrum and all of the things. And there are so many attractive trans men out there in the world. I mean, we're talking hot, hot, fan yourself hot. That I have a feeling if Blanche was going through the world, she would see a man and just respond because she is horny for men. And then she would have a moment to process, oh, could I be queer? Could I possibly date a trans? And I would love that journey for Blanche.
I would love that journey for her. I would
love
absolutely love that.
Yes.
I would love that journey for her.
Where you could be fluid enough, because she is very visual based. She's very vain in that way. It's very much about the guttural sexual response. And so it's often based in appearance. And there are some really fucking hot trans men out there.
I could totally see that. Blanche, yeah, like her just being like so attracted to a man. And then finding out and being like, well, hang on, like, and of course it challenging her sort of like social conservative views. But I think that would be the way. It's not from somebody else's experience. We've learned this about Blanche. Blanche only learns lessons when she can sort of see it through the lens of herself. Like when, Clayton wanted to marry Doug and Sophia's like, well, why did you and George get married? When Blanche sees things through her own experience, I think she's a little bit more open-minded.
But she still will convince her own narrative. So in her head, she is like, I am still a number one on the Kinsey scale because that man is a man. Look at that man. And she's right. That trans man is a man. And she is just like, no, look at that man. And she would just be all about that man being a man, doesn't matter, whatever. However, that man's a man. I want that man.
That man. I could see sort of happening if that were an episode, the way that it happened with Jake, where she's like, oh, I want this guy. And then it's like, oh, but he's a little too blue collar for me. And then when she sees him out, she's like, I was wrong. What was I thinking? Like, I love this man. I think that's what her journey would be. It would be like, I love this man. Oh, wait, that's a trans man. I'm not sure about this. No. This isn't me. And then would run into him again and be like, I don't know what I was thinking. Like,
I can see that. What do you think about Dorothy?
Dorothy, I think, is pretty high up there. I'd put Dorothy at like a 7.
You see, you mean more towards the lesbian part?
I think so. Dorothy and her friend Trudy, that she was always really competitive with. And I speak from my own experience. When I was a teenage girl, when I was a young girl, I had a best female friend. Like, we used to experiment with each other and because it was very safe because we trusted each other and we felt very safe and comfortable with each other. So like, like we would make out and do stuff and like touch each other's tits and stuff. So like, I could see Dorothy and Trudy maybe having that relationship, because the thing is too, the two of them are really competitive. And like, I could see them in like a heated, like, yelling at each other in the showers after a tennis match.
And then turning hot. And then getting it on. See, I can see now. Yes, I can see that. I agree with you. I'm gonna say she's more in the 6 range because I feel like if anything, Dorothy is more bi to me.
I'll put her. I'll put her at a 6.45.
Yeah, I can see that. I mean, the wind blows, however it needs to. I mean, we saw the hair change over the years. It turned into a helmet. She's ready for anything. But
she's ready to hop on the back of a bike.
Yes, she is
ready.
Of
a Harley Davidson.
That said, I can see Dorothy representing those asexual, people out there who are sexual but are asexual, and they practice their intimacy in a different way. You know what I mean? And I can see Dorothy ending up with someone who is androgynous or on the spectrum or is fluid or whatever, just because they like to read. Just because they like a quiet night where we're just reading, and that's how she practices her intimacy. And it's maybe holding hands, maybe laying next to each other while reading. And that's how she gets off. It doesn't matter who it is, man, woman, non-binary, whatever it is. Just lay next to me and let me read and don't talk.
Yeah, for Dorothy, it's about the person. It's just like, I love the person. Doesn't matter who that person is, how they identify. I love the person. I like to think of myself that way too, to be honest.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
I think Dorothy loves a person. Dorothy wants someone to like lie on the couch, like toe to
Mm-hmm.
toe, and
Mm-hmm.
like, rub each
Talk
other's
about how
feet.
they chuck the corn just right off. Like they just chuck the corn right off.
You shuck. You don't chuck
Chuck?
corn.
I
You
did that on the
shuck.
episode too when we were talking about that. I remember I confused that word for chuck and then shuck. So she's shucking. She's
She's
shucking the
shucking.
corn. And
She's
that's all
shucking
she wants to talk
something.
about. She just wants to talk about shucking that corn.
She's shucking something under that heated blanket. Where's my
Mm.
heating pad?
Wait, so what about Sophia?
Mm.
See,
Sophia. So, yeah, you go first.
okay, I think Sophia would say that she invented the Kinsey scale and that she knew him and that he stole it from her back in the day and that it actually came from some sort of recipe. And in fact, it came because she met this woman that made her change her ways and think differently about things, and that's where she got her recipe for like sauce or something, is from that sort of like moment of contemplating. And
That's so funny.
that's why her sauce is so good, because it sings with steaminess.
That is so funny. I'm picturing this as like a cheesecake scene or whatever on the table, and they're
Mm-hmm.
like,
Mm-hmm.
Sophia, where do you fall on the Kinsey scale? And she's like, I invented it.
Yeah. Picture it.
And then she tells the story of how she invented it.
Because she made the noodles for the Kinsey, that Albert
Mm-hmm.
Kinsey or whatever his
Yeah.
name is, and he had that sauce, and that's how he got, and he
Mm.
stole it from her.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could see. Yeah, I could see Sophia in her younger years.
Yes.
Although I also go like, well, she was at Shady Pines. Who
You never
knows what
know.
went on at Shady Pines,
That hot plate could have been for something more than
Mm-hmm.
just noodles.
Mm-hmm. Wink. Yeah. Yeah. So I think I would probably also put Sophia at maybe like a 6.45 or maybe a
See, I'm gonna
5.
put her in a 4 range because I
Okay.
think she is more in the male-driven range. Like she wants
Yeah,
a
okay.
man.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
but if the sauce is right.
Yeah, you're right. She's a 4. You're right. She's a 4. Mm-hmm.
Well,
Mm-hmm.
should we get into these gayest guest stars of all time on the Golden Girls?
Yes, because we have
I am ready.
something. I'm ready. And first up, we've got something very, very special. So don't go anywhere.
God.
If you were thinking about pausing to like take your
Don't
dog
pause.
out, wait like 5 more minutes.
You might want to pee.
Go
Because
pee.
it's going to be so exciting, and then come back. Yeah, so do that. It's also healthy.
And we are back talking about the Golden Girls' gayest guest stars in no particular order.
How fabulous. That's my as a gay person, I get to impersonate gay people as much as I want. And that's me impersonating Michael Scott, impersonating a gay person. Isn't it fabulous?
Yeah.
Isn't it marvelous? Fabulous.
Oh God, what's that Bleach joke where it's the Oscar episode and he goes, I watch Queer as Fuck, and they go, that's not the name of the show. And it's bleeped. I'm so sorry. I didn't think you were going to have that reaction. I wouldn't have said it when you were taking a sip of your drink.
Yes, I've seen it a million times, but wow. Wow. Okay. Go on.
All right. So I know I say in no particular order, but I did have to start with.
Everyone knows who we have to start with.
The most important gay guest star who was supposed to be a series regular, which was Coco, played by Charles Levin.
Yes.
Now, the thing about Coco.
R.I.P.
Charles Levin.
I mean, yes, R.I.P.
R.I.P. Charles Levin. Coco, as everybody knows, was meant to be a bigger character on the show, but because Estelle Getty was such a superstar, they rewrote they gave some of his lines away. They really trimmed him down. And as I was pulling clips for this episode, I realized Coco was trimmed down so much in this show that we never get his POV on literally anything. Not about life, not about love, aging, dating, sex, nothing.
Which is
not
often the case. I mean, you look at a lot of, like, even the movie Mannequin that we love, that we talked about with Tenderoni, Estelle Getty's in it. Like, the character of Hollywood is a completely asexual, just sort of entity. You know he's gay. Him being gay is great and everything, but he has no sexual identity, no boyfriend, no outlook, no opinions, nothing. It's just sort of they exist.
Yeah, and he's really he doesn't even have an opinion about like what the other women are doing and the decisions they're making in the episode. He's like I don't play volleyball, but he's like a volleyer. Like he
Yeah.
volleys the
Yeah.
ball so that
Yes.
somebody else can smack it, you know, and score the points or whatever. I do understand why Coco was cut out of, you know,
It
after
would
the
have just
pilot.
been too much.
It was
It would have been too
too
messy.
it was too crowded. We're going to play a clip, just a little moment of Coco to kind of honor him, to honor Charles Levin.
Yes.
And then after that, to restore some of Coco's legacy, if it's okay with you, HAlanScott / Sadie Pines, we're going to put on our acting pants.
Oh.
And you and I are going to read acting. You and I are actually going to read some of his deleted lines from the original pilot draft of the script.
I get to be Coco because I'm the homosexual.
You get to be Coco. And I also just want to shout out friend of the podcast, Jeffrey Carter, for whom
we love Jeffrey.
Reading this would not be possible.
Thank you, Jeffrey.
Let's play a little bit of Coco, and then we're gonna give Coco his
due.
His due.
I taught a class today, the finest school in Dade County. 2 girls had shaved heads, and 3 boys had green hair.
They're expressing themselves.
Yeah, well, I expressed myself. I told them they had to leave. They were too ugly to look at. Now the parents are mad. A father came in a 3-piece suit and defended Tiffany, a bald girl with a nose ring. What's that?
Enchiladas rancheros.
Why don't you just shoot me?
Not to like, you know, whatever, but like Coco kind of got the Michael Scott voice.
You think so?
A little bit.
Mm-hmm.
That's how I'll read it. Okay,
that's how you'll read it. Yeah. That's also where the name of the TV show Just Shoot Me came from.
What?
Dorothy's line.
Oh, really?
No.
Oh, no. Shut up. My God.
Okay, so
what you guys don't know about me is I am the most gullible person ever.
This is the Rose in you.
I am very much that.
Yes, that was also a mean moment that I just had. So, okay, so I will be reading the parts of Dorothy and Rose. You will be reading Coco. I will adjust my voice between the 2 characters a little bit.
Oh, wow. Okay, I love this.
So this is a deleted scene from the moment where Dorothy was looking at the woman in the mirror. She didn't recognize who she was. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
This old woman was in the mirror. I didn't recognize her. And it was me. I had felt so young, so like those girls, that I was totally unprepared for my face. I know, it's shocking. Every time I look down, I see my mother's legs.
My legs are exactly the way they were when I was 16. In fact, last week, I was carded.
During a blackout.
Who cares? What is young? What is anything? What is blonde? What is pretty? What is wrinkles? It all changes. Inside is what stays the same.
He's right. He's really right. I know. It's the truth. What's inside is what counts. That's what should be paid attention to. That's what really matters. Right.
I'd give it up in a second for a good set of knockers. And
that's where we'll end. The early draft wasn't as funny as it's also probably just you and me. We're obviously
we're not
those actors.
But I'm not an actor at all. But that said, I can't imagine Coco saying those lines.
Well, what's interesting is that he feels a little bit more like Blanche in so much as he's like, what does the outside matter? You know, it's always changing, but his outside isn't changing because he just got carded. Or if he did get carded in a blackout, it's him being a little vain. And he's like,
I am like Coco though. I have great legs.
Well, there you go.
Like amazing legs. Like double take legs. Just saying.
That's great. It's nice to have good legs.
It
nice
is.
Stems.
It's my one asset.
The other thing that's interesting for Coco to say he'd give it all up for like a good set of tits. It's like, okay, what's going on there with Coco? Is there a little like gender
Oh,
identity
well,
step?
no.
No, okay.
Well, possibly, yes, of course.
Tell
But
me.
just to say, every gay man loves a good set of boobs. I'm sorry. Like when I am Sadie, and I firmly believe this, that people with a little bit of a jiggle to them make better drag queens, because when I put on my boobs and I have these sort of like prosthetic sort of boobs, not prosthetic, silicone boobs that I put in my bra. My
Falsies.
skin, yes. My Skims bra sponsor, us, please. But I put
They
them
don't
in,
need
and
us.
yes, we do. I need them. I need the
Oh, you
sponsorship
need
because I
them.
buy so
Yes.
much. But when I put them in and then I can jiggle, oh my God, there is nothing better than women who can jiggle their boobs. God, you're so blessed. You are so blessed. And I know your back probably hurts and like all the things that are like the things, but don't you just ever sometimes sit there and like jiggle your boobs and go, I can jiggle my boobs?
It's so funny. I feel like there's so many men that think that women do. Maybe some women do. I personally don't. I just
You
kind
don't
of
like your,
forget they're there, but oh no, I love them. They're great. They're like a nice little like handful.
yeah.
You know, they're perky still, which is kind of nice.
God, I love a boob. And I love a woman who
Mm.
loves just to like pop them up, show them off, doesn't
Mhm.
care. Boobs are there. Like,
Doesn't
I
care.
love
Boobs
it.
are there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I'm like fine with them. I don't know. I feel like ever since I've become a mom, I've just been like, I don't even want to have to think about my body. I have
What's
way too
crazy
much
about
other stuff to think about.
I feel you there. But well, not really. I'm not a mom, but like I understand that sentiment. But what's crazy is like online and everything, like men can be topless and stuff, but women can't. Yet we obsess over boobs so much as a society and culture, but yet we can't show the boobs. It is like the most backwards fucked up thing ever, when it's like everyone should be able to be topless. I understand covering up the midsection. I get that, because that's where things come out. Like things naturally come out of that, and so do boobs. I guess water, milk comes out of boobs too, but
Water,
not
water
not water.
balloons, water
Maybe
boobs.
water if you sweat. I don't know, but
Yeah.
more important things come out of the lower section. So I understand keeping those covered. That said, free the boob.
Free the boob. Well, I am glad that we were able to restore some of Coco's legacy
We love
with those
Coco.
lines, because it just would have been nice to know. Again, I understand why Coco did not move on past the pilot.
It makes sense.
But if Sophia were a character that weren't in the show, then I think that Coco would have probably ended up somehow falling into that role, or maybe he would have been
I
more
don't
like
think
Blanche.
so.
But then what would Blanche have been like?
I think Coco would have, even if Sophia was not a part of the mix, I sadly feel like Coco would have had the same fate. I honestly do. I just feel like when you have, the show is so female driven, and when you have especially those four women, but if it was just the three of them, even those three women, who are, two of them at that point were already icons of television, you don't need this man. You just don't. And I think even though I love Coco, I think it would have not been the same show. It would have been a different show. And I would have wanted them to focus on those three women. It would be like watching Sex and the City and then having a dude, even though like we would go and see Big's life or Aiden's life outside of Kerri and stuff. And we never saw that because we didn't care. We only cared about them in relation to the character that we cared about, which was Kerri. So I just don't want it.
Plus, I think with Sophia, it's nice that you get like a mother-daughter dynamic. It's just a different dynamic than four friends,
Totally agree.
Anyway, R.I.P. Coco. We wanted to honor Coco in this episode, and Charles Levin. So number 2, the gayest guest star, not gayest, one of the gayest guest stars from the Dateline Miami episode, the scorned waiter.
So good.
Let's play this moment.
Okay. So I've had a couple of bad relationships with women. That's not so unusual. Now, where is our waiter? Oh, waiter.
Well, well, Peter. We just swing the way the wind blows, don't we? And who's this? Glinda, the good witch of the north? You disgust me. After the way you've treated me, I should scratch your eyes out. Call me.
It's the call me. It's the call me that is just so good.
I just love the, well, Peter. You know, so the scorned waiter was played by an actor named Nick Ullett, who, for whatever it's worth, was in his lifetime married to 4 different women and a writer for something called Playboy After Dark.
No way.
But
No way.
there's something fun, I think, for a casting director, because this was just written for a waiter, obviously for a gay character. But when you have a British actor come in and all of a sudden you hear the lines really a little bit differently. Yes, he was born in London.
Oh, he was? Okay.
Yes. So the same thing happened to the show You're the Worst. The lead character of Jimmy, Chris Greer, is this, Greer is this, British actor who comes in and all of a sudden the words just sound completely different. And it takes on a whole new life. And I feel like even though this was a minor role, I thought this guy,
I just love
somebody with a British accent, it was something so fun about it.
I just love the insult him, and then all of a sudden twist and go, call me.
Call me.
Call me. What do I do in British? Call me. Call me. Ring me up sometime, mate. That's Australian.
Yeah, our British listeners right now are plugging up those ears.
They still like us. I'll eat your biscuits. Not an innuendo.
So our next, this is now guest stars on this television program.
Yes.
Rarely get as many jokes, especially like bit part characters. Rarely get as many jokes as this next one.
This is my favorite gay person. I'm sorry, Clayton. I'm sorry, Gene. I'm sorry, all the homosexuals, Laszlo. This is my favorite homosexual on the Golden Girls. Hands down, this actor should have gotten nominated for Best Guest Actor in a Comedy Series for this performance.
So
I said it.
From Sophia's Wedding, Part 1, it's the wedding caterer.
Well, listen, I have to talk to you.
Who's in charge here?
Well, what's the problem?
I'm the caterer. It's 2 o'clock. The guests are waiting. Why isn't the show on the road?
Ma, I know you're in there.
The wedding is off.
She doesn't approve.
She doesn't approve. Now, look here, Stretch. I have 100 cheese puffs and a sensitive assistant, both on the verge of collapse. Whatever the problem is, overlook it. My mother did with my marriage. And if you say something smart, I'll slap you silly.
Okay, you know what I love about the writing of this character? Now, I think there can be a conversation to be had that this character is essentially funny because he's gay. I get that. I get that point of view. But I would actually argue that this is the only character, perhaps in the history of the Golden Girls, that was able to stand up to Doherty. That Doherty didn't fight back against, that Doherty wasn't the, I have to have the last word, because I think the writers knew that this actor, the delivery of these lines, and this actor was so capable in delivering them. Ray Burke, that I don't know what else he did, but I feel like he did other stuff that he looked familiar. But that this actor was able to deliver so much that it almost wouldn't behoove them to have Doherty stand up to him. She kind of just has to accept and move on and to the story that is at hand. You know what I mean? So
he's known for the Naked Gun movies.
Yes.
He plays this character name. He plays Pap Schmear in them. And he was in Throw Mama from the Train. He was in Doc Hollywood. I think, to me, so funny. And you're like, is able to, again, these women are heavy hitter comedic actors. And he is able to be just as funny as them without, pulling away from them, making them any less funny. And I think the two reasons why this scene works so well with him and with his character. Why are there balloons? I raised my hand and balloons just suddenly fly up.
Anyone watching on YouTube is like, what?
Yeah, the balloons.
Hey,
Okay.
thanks, Apple. You're making those
Thank
balloons now.
you. Okay.
Yeah.
Is so all of the women, they're in this sort of like I'm trying to just solve this problem right now part of the scene, and he's the one that has like the funny attitude about it, because the fun thing about it, the caterer has zero skin in the game. Like this situation is actually very low stakes for him. He's going to get paid regardless, but he cares about making like this wedding. This wedding is going to go on time. This is going to happen, but he's the caterer. So the stakes should be so low for him. I think that's also why it's really funny. Listen, Stretch, the way he
have
puts...
to play the next line, because the next line is just his other line in this scene is at the end of this scene.
I know,
is just
so iconic. So iconic.
I need to. I'm sorry.
This is more moving than Susan Hayward's climactic speech, and I want to live.
You're ready to fly right out of here, aren't you?
Well, excuse me for living, Anita Bryant.
Okay, context. Anita Bryant was the pageant queen in Florida who wanted to ban gay teachers from teaching children and stuff, and then she had a pie thrown in her face. Google it. It's one of the best videos you'll ever watch on YouTube. But what I find so amazing about this scene is his delivery again is just because this man goes from high energy to low to high again and back to low with just a shift of a sentence. That actor, kudos to that actor. He is so good. But my favorite bit in this moment is when Blanche goes, "You're about ready to fly right out of here." He responds the way he responds, and then you see Rue McClanahan. Blanche is gone for a sec, for the splittest of a second. There's a moment. There's a smile. Now, if you watch this on YouTube, go back and watch the clip because you'll see it, and I kept it in the clip. But you'll see it in Rue McClanahan's face that she wants to laugh. That there is an acknowledgement of the absurdity on how funny this moment is. And I don't know if she's wanting to break, but there's just this smile that is not a Blanche smile. It's a Rue smile. It's Rue being around a gay man and realizing she's having the time of her life.
I love that you noticed that, like that you saw Rue come out and just for a moment. I didn't notice that, so now I'm going to go back and watch that. But yeah, how do you not laugh when you're...
Well, and it's also too, it's that feeling of, I mean, this is what it is for me, at least as a queer person around women sometimes, that when I can be funny and I can be myself fully in the safety of the women in our lives, often straight women, but also lesbians too. I mean, lots of women, but primarily straight women, at least in my life. And you can be fully safe to do and say and be yourself, and then have the women acknowledge you and, respect you and see you. It is like, it's just an energy, and the women in this show have it, and they have it with this character, and it's unspoken, but it is just frenetic. It is just so good. It is so good. Oh, and this scene it says it in so many ways.
It's so good. It's like, it's such a memorable everything. Excuse me for living, Anita Bryant. Listen here, Stretch. Just, like so much of it.
Susan Hayward. He brings up "I want to live." I mean, there's just so many references. Within the span of just 3 fucking lines. It's wild to me.
Yeah, this man, and he's a wedding planner trapped in the body of a caterer with his energy at this wedding.
I swear to God, the wedding planner and father of the bride, Martin Short, stole it from this episode. I really
that's
feel
so
that.
funny.
I really feel that. I feel that. Go watch. If you don't know, go watch. But we should take a break and come back because I need to calm down. I need to watch. I want to live.
You need to cool yourself down. And we're back talking about the Golden Girls Gayest guest stars. We have a couple of notable guest stars that we talk a lot about on this podcast, so we're not going to do too deep a dive into them. but we definitely have to shout out our favorite lesbian, Jean.
I mean, how could you not? Emmy-nominated Jean.
I'm quite fond of you, Rose.
That actress is so good.
Lois Nettleton, I believe.
Yeah, I mean, a great actress.
So
I mean,
good.
The things I think she was on like a Twilight Zone episode or something. She did a lot. She did a lot of work, but she was nominated for an Emmy. She was nominated for 3 Emmys, I think. And she she won a daytime Emmy too. And she was nominated for the episode Golden Girls. She was nominated episode for in the Heat of the Night. Like, that woman, great TV.
She's so good. She plays like earnest and sweet. So there's just something about her. There's a je ne sais quoi to Jean. And she's
Jean.
hot.
She is hot. Jean is hot. I could see, Jean having a moment. Yeah, she was. She was on an episode of The Twilight Zone. I had to look that up because I wasn't for sure about it. She was. I wonder if it tells me what episode. Yeah. Oh God, what episode? I hate IMDb sometimes. Anyway, sorry. Continue.
I know it's hard when you're trying to figure out the episode.
The Midnight
sometimes.
Sun. The Midnight Sun. She played Norma in season 3. The Midnight Sun. So I'm gonna watch.
She
that
doesn't look
tonight.
like a Norma. She looks like a Jean. Jean. We also have to call out. I know we just watched an episode with them, but Clayton and Doug. Obviously, how can we not talk about Clayton and Doug?
Yes.
Clayton and Doug. I mean, Clayton, you all know how we feel about Clayton and how Monty Markham was so perfectly cast as Blanche's brother. And it was a really great story to have for Blanche, for her character, the arc with them. So beautiful. We love you, Clayton and Doug.
Yeah.
We also have to talk about Gil Kessler.
I mean, Gil. Also, I met Gil, the actor who plays Gil, at Golden Con. The nicest man. Oh my God. And he loved Sadie, and it was just sort of like. And what was amazing about Gil Kessler, I'm blanking on his name real quick. Hold on, I want to find out his.
I think it's
name. John. But Gil Kessler, John Shuck. John. What I thought was so respectful about John is, John's an older gentleman, actor. He's been in a lot of things. I mean, you'll recognize John in a bunch of things, but he was very aware about how potentially culturally insensitive that episode is, and he was open to having the conversation about and learning and all of the things that and he was just very open to it and very aware, and it just I respected him so much for. I hate when people refuse to grow and evolve, and I'm not saying John ever needed to evolve, because he potentially was always accepting and loving and beautiful and great and all the things. But I'm saying that when we recognize that we can still love a show and say, well, that portrayal was potentially uncomfortable, or that line was uncomfortable, or that thing was uncomfortable, but yet we can still love it and put it into context and then say, yes, they were wrong for that, but that doesn't mean they're bad people. And I love that about John. I love John. John was great. And Gil Kessler, I actually enjoyed that episode a lot.
Yeah. I love that episode. I know we covered that episode last year for Pride as well. So everybody should go back and listen to it from last year. Maybe don't listen to the original watch, because the audio was probably not very great.
That's true.
So yes, Jean, Clayton, Doug, Gil, we thank you so much. So our next, I'm just going to go ahead and call them a power couple. I want to talk about Laszlo and Victor. Did you know that character had a name? Victor.
I did not know that.
So what's interesting about that is because in Victor, Laszlo was played by Tony J. Victor was played by Monty Landis.
Both so good. It's very rare that a character is billed with a character name when they don't, when their name isn't spoken on the show. It's normally if their name isn't spoken on the show, they'll be like the janitor, the handyman, the waiter, the caterer. But maybe that actor
they didn't.
Looked familiar though. I mean, I think he's been in other stuff.
Oh, you should look him up real quick.
Maybe
Monty,
that's why.
Monte, Monty Landis. But I have to wonder if the reason why Victor was named Victor, maybe they just didn't know how to credit him. Like they weren't going to call him like
Oh.
gallery guest. They could have called him like Laszlo's
Okay,
friend,
well,
Laszlo's boyfriend,
Monty-
Laszlo's lover. I don't know.
Monty was in Pee-wee's Big Adventure, played Mario.
Oh.
Also in
I
Young
love Pee-wee's Big Adventure.
Frankenstein from England, body double. Like he's been in a bunch of movies actually and TV shows. Yeah, Monty had a career. Good career. Good for him.
Good for you, Monty.
Queenie too. Seems like a big old queen. I love that.
Yay. That's another thing. It's like, and I know that, you can make assumptions like if a man's been married to women, but I'm just like always wonder, I'm like, how are any of these actors, do any of them identify as queer in any way?
Yeah, I mean, I do think that is something that we, should talk about a little bit sometimes more. That I'm not one of those people that says straight actors can't play gay. I don't believe that. I do not believe that at all. I think everyone can play, those parts, any part an actor can play. That said, though, I do think that we tend to only focus on sort of like the straight actors who play gay, and then because of that, we don't ever allow gay actors to get the work that they need to build a career so that they can play the gay characters or the straight characters. And so you just have all these straight actors playing all these gay actors all the time and winning awards. And you have people like Matt Bomer, who gets looked over for Superman because he was never given the opportunity to. And Matt Bomer's fucking hot.
Stan wanted him to be Superman.
Can I tell you about Matt Bomer? So he and I have a little bit of a DM friendship happening in that, because I interviewed him a while ago, and we talk about the Golden Girls, and I told him someday, and oh my God, it was just announced. Hold on, let me go to my DM with him. It was just announced the other day that I
know what you're gonna say.
You know the thing I'm gonna say.
Yes, go ahead.
He and Nathan Lane are in a show called Mid-Century Modern. This is what Hollywood Reporter described it as, somewhat of a gender-swapped version of Golden Girls that follows, quote, gay gentlemen of a certain age. The series comes from Ryan Murphy and the creators of Will and Grace. And I messaged him immediately. I will not say what we discussed about this show. I will tell you off air. But he's just so hot, but also just so sweet, and it pisses me off because when people that hot are also that nice, it's just like, God, that's not how I look at the world.
Yeah,
but
I get that.
But what I'm saying is, he was even hot when he was in his 20s, but he wasn't given the parts that he probably could have gotten because people either knew or he came out late or whatever it was. And it's just sort of like there's that problem that we have where we don't allow openly gay actors to thrive. That's it.
Yeah. No, I agree with everything you said. Like I said, Stan wanted him so badly to be Superman.
So good. He would have been great.
Yeah.
He would have been great. Yeah.
Well, shall we play a little bit of Laszlo and Victor?
Yes, then we shall.
Oh, one more thing, Laszlo. I'd like to ask you a question. By any chance, is there anybody here tonight in whom you might be interested romantically?
Well, as a matter of fact, yes.
Oh, I knew it. I knew it.
Laszlo, looks like we're a hit.
I'm sorry, I thought you knew.
I'm sorry, I thought you knew.
What a fun way to end that scene.
What a fun way. Well, it's just such a good.
It's
I mean,
so
because
good.
it could have ended on so many other ways, but like them being like, "Oh, we should know," and then Sophia's line too, being like, "Well, can you blame the man? He looked at you three naked for 7 days or whatever it was."
Yeah.
Like
I just love, I'm sorry. I thought you knew. I love the way. I love that. Yeah. I love it. It's great. Love you.
Two great actors too.
Yeah.
Laszlo
and also
Victor.
Laszlo and Victor. And also just like Gil Kessler with Laszlo, there's that reveal sort of right at the end of the episode. Surprise.
Yeah. I loved it.
Now I know everybody listening to this podcast is like, I swear to God, if you two don't say Pat and Kathy image consultants, I'm going to scream.
Of course we're concluding Pat and
Of course
Kathy.
we're talking about Pat and Kathy image
My
consultants.
God, what do you? We would not be GG VIPs if we did not include Pat and Kathy.
All right, let's play their moment because it's so good.
We're back. Let's meet our panelists. Dorothy, a lesbian. Blanche, another lesbian. And Pat and Kathy, image consultants.
How come they're not lesbians?
We don't believe in labels.
I just hearing B. Arthur say, "How come they're not lesbians?" it's not meant to be funny, but it is so funny.
It's so funny. It's so funny. So Pat was played by Jana Arnold, and I don't see Kathy.
I know she's not listed on the show, so I don't know. I couldn't find her name either.
I wonder if it's because Kathy didn't have any lines. That might be why.
It. Yeah, I was thinking that too.
But
still great. Still so great.
We don't believe in labels.
Which is like, I mean, it's just so funny. Also, that whole bit afterwards about, I love how uncomfortable Rue is or Blanche is in this moment, being like, well, I am the little homemaker.
And then I take out the garbage.
And then I love in the scene after all of this, when they're at the house and Blanche comes in being like, well, look at all the letters I got, or whatever she's saying. And then she's like, oh, what am I doing? Like, it's so, I love Blanche's like crisis that she's having in her head about this moment. It's so good.
I love it. I also feel like for Pat and Kathy and their line, like, well, we don't believe in labels.
Yeah.
I don't know. To me, it's like, and I could just be reading too much into this, but it's almost like the writers are saying, like, hey, you can write gay characters where their whole storyline, it's not about them being gay. They just happen, you can have a character who's just gay.
Yeah.
They're just gay. And that doesn't have to be their stories, all like those don't have to be the basis of their stories all the time.
No, it's true.
True. I'm an image consultant and I happen to be gay.
Yeah, I do love that. I do love that. I love Pat and Kathy.
Oh, Pat and Kathy.
I wonder what they're up to. I bet you they have a timeshare, in Fort Lauderdale that they moved to. They wear shorts every day now, tank tops. They love sitting on their lawn chairs out back with the beach, and they drink their little like homemade margaritas every night and
listen to Jimmy Buffett.
Yeah, listen to Jimmy Buffett, and then go up and watch Scandal. Yeah, on Netflix.
Yeah, and they look at each other every time. They go, she's gonna say it. She's gonna say it. It's handled. She said it. Kerri Washington said it. She said it's handled.
I need to watch that show. I've never watched it.
It's great.
No, I should watch it.
I like it. I enjoy it. Now, when you and I talked about, because you and I, we've got to be on the same page when it comes to these compilations.
Yeah, there were a few deep cuts that I had. I
had sent you a list, and you sent me back a list.
Yeah.
That had, maybe we'll just put them into a category of characters who give off gay. How would you like to categorize these?
Well,
next
one we
four?
already talked about, which you were in my headspace with, which is Trudy, Dorothy's friend Trudy, which you get how she could be one of the best gayest gay guest stars ever on the show, because her and Dorothy probably had a little tickle when they were kids. Like, let's be real. So that is why she's in that list. But the others I know are not necessarily gay or queer. Let me just go down the list here. So I started first off with Stan's cousin Magda. And to me, she just reads like, that tennis player, the Russian one, who she's very like stern. She's like an icon. Oh God. Help me. Google it.
I don't know. Okay. I know Billie Jean King. That's the only tennis player I know.
Russian lesbian tennis player.
I know Russian figure skaters.
No.
Maria Sharapova.
Yeah, that her.
Okay.
Yes. So like she gives me that in a way, in that like, in that sort of, I don't know, like that she would do it. She doesn't really see sexuality. She's just like, I love you, and you love me, and that is all that matters. Like she's just very
Let's
lesbian to
drink a
me.
Slurpee.
Yeah. Yes. While they drink Slurpees and they talk about Vanna White's book or something like that to me is very. She's very lesbian. So that's one. And then I put Brenda Vaccaro on here because she's she's I don't know why, but she is queer in a way that is like, you know, that she would put one back with all the guys at the gay bar and all the cross-dressers and everyone, and she's just one of the guys in a way that some amazing women are in gay groups of people, and I love that. And so to me, she's just queer. She's not.
She was very open and accepting of Phil's
it's
identity.
more than that. Yes, I get very much that, but there's a difference between having the best friend that's a girl, that's straight girl, and like, but the straight girl has her own life and like does her own, like, you know what I mean? Like they're separate. Not Brenda Vaccaro. Brenda Vaccaro is one of the guys. Brenda Vaccaro is singing the show tune with the gay guys at the bar. Brenda Vaccaro is making top and bottom jokes. Brenda Vaccaro is up there. It wouldn't be weird for her to throw out a fisting joke. Like it would, like Brenda Vaccaro is a gay dude. And I'm going to stand by that. And I feel like if Alaska is listening, I'm going to get a text about this, and it is going to be, it's going to be confirmed, because I mean, I think if Alaska says it, it's true. So like Brenda Vaccaro is a gay dude. I'm just saying it. Finally.
Before we move on to the last one,
yeah,
there's something about the way you say, and maybe it's but the way you say Brenda Vaccaro that is very pleasing to my ears. Brenda Vaccaro, Brenda Vaccaro, Brenda Vaccaro.
I mean, that's how you say her name, right?
Brenda Vaccaro. But the way I know, but I don't know. I just like wanted you to say, like I wanted you to say it 80 more times.
Maybe that's why she's so gay, because out of my mouth, because it's like a purse falling out. So like maybe her name inherently is just gay. You know,
I really hope that putting this all out, I really hope this gets Brenda Vaccaro on the podcast.
We're going to get it. I'm going to get it. All
right.
Finally, and this one's controversial, and I know this one's wishful thinking on my part, but I had to do it because I believe in manifestation. I believe in putting things out into the universe that you want to receive back. And so finally, our last gayest guest star on the Golden Girls ever is Dorothy's son, Michael. He's just gay. He needs to be gay. He needs to, or not, maybe not even gay, but like down for one night or something. You know what I mean? Like he's a Kinsey 5 and it's hot. And there's just, I don't know. I know it's wishful thinking, and I know every gay guy listening is like, we approve of this. Well, actually, I don't know. Gay listeners, queer listeners, or just in general, but like queer listeners in particular, do you find Michael as hot as I do? If you don't, what's wrong with you?
He's very attractive.
He is very, and you know
He's
what?
Cute.
Everyone that he slept with on the show is vastly different, which means maybe he would sleep with me.
Okay.
I am.
All right.
I'm vastly
You've made a
different than
case.
everyone he slept
You've
with
made
on the
a
show.
case. Yeah, you've made a case. That is a case.
Yeah. So there you go.
Yeah.
That's the gayest guest stars.
Well, though that is our list of the gayest guest stars on the Golden Girls. We're dying to know if we missed anyone, if there's someone who you're like, oh, that person is very, very gay.
Yeah.
Let us know.
I know we did, and there are many.
I'm sure we missed some.
Especially
I'm
if
sure
you
we
go
missed
in the
some.
direction I did with like the Brenda Vaccaros of the world, and then you got the whole show's your oyster. You know what I mean? Like you could do anybody. So yeah. Let us know.
So tell
Maybe
us who
make a
your
case for
favorite
Jake.
gay. Yes.
He was in the
make your
Navy.
case.
We know things happen in the Navy. You never know. You know, in the Navy. Anyway, let's take a break and we'll come back with our golden takeaways.
Let's do it. Oh, I'm at 11%. We may need to do skip resting for happy hour. Yeah.
Yeah. We'll just do it on Sunday then, or Saturday. Okay, ready?
Yep.
And we're back with our golden takeaways, which is a nugget of truth or inspiration that you can apply to your life or the lives of our listeners. Kerri, what's your golden takeaway from this episode?
My golden takeaway was about Coco.
Okay.
I really want the character of Coco to have a chance to live the life that Coco was supposed to live. And I don't know what that means. I don't know if that means at some point with people's permission having a table read of the original Golden Girls and letting everybody hear who Coco was supposed to be. If that's someone speaking with Susan Harris about what she had planned, her ideas for Coco. I don't know if that's fan fiction about Coco. When I rewatch that pilot, I feel like there's a really, really great, well-rounded character with a lot to say that is in there that was just whittled down. And I just really want hashtag justice for Coco.
Okay.
That's my golden takeaway.
I'm into that. I'm very into that. My golden takeaway from this episode, this wasn't going to be my golden takeaway, but it needs to be. I want everyone listening to go follow Brenda Vaccaro on Instagram and just give her support, give her love. Because to me, she is the gayest guest star ever on the Golden Girls. And I love her
right now.
I love her. I love Brenda Vaccaro. She's a great actress. If you haven't seen The Mirror Has Two Faces, watch it because she's the best friend in it. But she's also been in a bunch of other stuff, and she's Academy Award nominated. So like Brenda Vaccaro is incredible, and more people need to respect who this woman is and why she is the best thing ever. We're gonna get her on. We're gonna get her on.
Yeah, we have to get her on.
I mean, she was nominated for Midnight or for Once Isn't Not Enough Oscar. Like,
we have to get Brenda Vaccaro on. Let's work on that, you and me.
We're gonna work on it.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. We're gonna work on it. Everybody, help us work on it.
Yes.
Wow, everyone. This has been another episode of Out on the Lanai. We hope that you've liked all of our Pride coverage, and I can't wait to see what we do next year for Pride. I don't know. I don't know what episodes we're gonna do. I don't know.
Every year it just keeps getting gayer.
Yeah, it's got to be way gayer next year.
Yeah. Definitely.
And if you guys want to check out the GGVIP Club, you can do that by going over to patreon.com/Golden Girls Podcast, where you can sign up for all the good stuff, and it supports us in all of the work that we do. And we love bringing you so much fun bonus content, and hopefully soon an interview with Brenda Vaccaro if we can get her.
And I'm gonna try to talk like Brenda in this bit I have.
Okay.
Here. Okay. So we're part of Mom Media, Moguls of Media. So why wouldn't you go sign up for Moguls of Media? Go sign up for Mom Plus. It's all the things. You can also follow us on the social media at Golden Girls Pod on the Twitter, the tweets, the X, the things that people are talking about. I don't know, the things. Go like it. Out on the Lanai Official on the Instagrams. Everyone talking about the Instagrams. Follow Instagram. Get verified. I don't know what that's all about. Go to Golden Girls Pod on the Facebooks, the Facebookers. I used to do the Facebooks. I used to belong to a group on the Facebooks. And I am HAlanScott / Sadie Pines on most of them. Yeah, everything. I'd say everything. Definitely everything. And he loved you.
Oh, that was good. That was that tail end right there. That was good.
He was a good man.
He was a good man.
He was a good man.
Oh, he was so good. Oh, everybody, I'm Squid Eat Squid on Instagram, Twitter, and Squidsy on Instagram. And if you want to do something else nice for the podcast, you can leave a rating review wherever you get this podcast.
And remember,
as always,
do it like Brenda. Stay golden.
Stay golden.
Stay golden.
Or don't. I don't care.
Watch The Mirror Has Two Faces. It's really good. Barbara Streisand.
Out on the Lanai is not endorsed by Whit Thomas Harris Productions, Touchstone Television, Disney, or any of its subsidiaries. It is intended for entertainment and informational purposes only.
All names, pictures, audio, and video clips of the Golden Girls are registered trademarks and/or copyrights of their respective trademark and/or copyright holders.